chair of the Global Black Caucus.
And I'm Adrienne. I lead our caucus's Get Out the Vote team.
Welcome to the Power to the People podcast.
2025, and we're in our season of opposition.
And we will not obey in advance. Power to the people.
So Angela, end of the month. I feel exhausted.
Yeah, it is exhausting. I mean, we're just a little over 100 days, and there's something that I listen to, and they explicitly say the number of days, and it's like 1,000 something, and I'm just like, how are we going to make this? How are we going to make it through this? But we have to, but it's going to be rough. I mean, what do you think, Adrienne?
Well, I mean, just look at May.
Yes, okay.
Right? Every time we do the end of the month, we're like, this is horrible. But look at May. Like, I'm exhausted. What's happened? It's so much. Let's start maybe by just acknowledging the gems that we lost.
Yeah, all right. So we've got
Get the sad part out of the way. The
we've
other part
got
is disgusting.
a whole bunch of dims that we lost. I mean, in general, the first one that was just the most recent is Jerry Connolly. He was a representative in Virginia in the House, and yeah, he just died a few days ago. Sylvester Turner, he was a representative in Texas for Houston's Texas 18th district. Uh, he he ran to fill uh, Sheila Jackson Lee's seat, and
Oh
then
gosh.
yeah, and
Because
then
that's
he died.
recent. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
it's a very recent. Um, Also, in Arizona, Raul Grijalva, he died also just
Hmm.
recently. So we've got definitely elections coming up for those people. I don't mean to make it so base, but
But Representative Charles Rangel as well.
yeah, that's right. He also died. And so
But he was
we're gonna need,
94 and had retired.
yeah, he had
But there was,
retired
it's
and lived a
rough
long,
time.
I love that guy. I thought he was a great
Mhm.
representative when he was in the House. Um,
Yeah. He had a little shady something, something, but he was like, y'all ain't gonna force me out to make you feel comfortable. So I don't,
yeah,
they showed a clip of it just now, and I was like, "Go ahead, brother." I don't know what exactly he did, but he retired on his own terms. And he, just to put it in perspective, unseated Adam Clayton Powell, who had been a long time representative for Harlem and other districts in New York.
yeah,
So yeah, so thanks for fighting the fight and choosing a life of service to all of those we
yeah,
lost.
yeah. So it's, I mean, they all did their duty, to the United States, unlike a certain president that we all hate. Um,
Well,
okay.
and you know what? That we can segue into that because um, he went off the rails on Memorial Day, I think, at
Oh,
Arlington Cemetery. Didn't he go off the
yeah,
rails?
yeah. He went off the rails in Arlington. He went off the rails at the Naval Academy graduation too.
What did he do there?
He started talking about marrying your trophy wife and that it doesn't always work out. I'm just like, is that information that graduates need? I mean, maybe, I guess, but maybe not at the graduation. Like he lost it there too. The man is slipping. And I just got to say, you know, there's this book that Jake Tapper wrote about
I used
Biden.
to like Jake Tapper.
Well, I felt I felt reasonably okay about him, but I'm not a fan of CNN.
But you
And
know who I really like, and this might be digression, Jake Tapper's dad. And the reason I like Jake Tapper because he did this special about his dad. His dad is a physician and works in underserved communities
mm,
of color, in particular this black one. I don't know where. And it was one patient that he had seen known since he was a child was accused of some crime, and he was like, I know he didn't do it. And this guy was in prison, I think, and everything. But Jake Tapper's father persisted to say, I know he's innocent. I don't know what he did. They found new evidence, his testimony. He got this boy out of jail, this young man. So I was like, your dad's great. So I given him the benefit of the doubt for that. But I haven't read the book,
well,
and
don't read it, don't buy it, because it's basically about how everyone kept it a secret about Joe Biden's health condition. Oh, we have to say something about Joe Biden's health condition that he has cancer. And that I hope
that's
that
right. And it's an aggressive form, they said, of
yes,
prostate cancer is going to his bone skeleton, I believe. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. But
Mm,
we're sending out our best wishes to President Biden because no matter
absolutely. He's the president that gave us the first female vice president, the first
that's right.
black vice president, the first female woman Supreme Court justice, a lot of other justices. He did a lot of. They said he was the blackest president
Yes,
um, since I don't know who, as far as elevating black people um, to the
good
courts
black
and
people, not
good
not
black
just
people.
not just some, I don't know what the word would be, some black people that need to go sit down, go back home and sit down somewhere like Trump has chosen.
Mm,
But yeah, we wish our best, to President Biden, and you know, we hope
his
that,
family,
yeah,
and he gets the support and care that he needs.
yes,
And I hope he's staying off social media.
me too. I I don't know. I really liked President Biden. I know a lot of people feel some kind of way about him, but he was a good man for the most part, and
Well, seeing
we
how no men
will.
are perfect during his presidency,
Yeah, he
he
wasn't
did
perfect.
no, but oh, the decriminalizing
Yeah,
marijuana at the federal or whatever.
yep.
He did a lot of common sense stuff. Oh God, you have to love him as an environmental president.
Yes, he did a lot for the environment. He did a lot I mean, remember that there was this whole thing where they gave the children, they gave people with children extra money, and it
Child care
actually
tax.
it actually took away like a large percentage of childhood poverty. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so
Child tax credit, I believe it was
yeah,
called, when it lifted thousands of families out of poverty, which means
yes,
children, as you
yes,
say. Um, we could go on, right?
but
One of the things that scares me and must upset you that happened this month, I think it came out of Kennedy's office, was something
mm,
about vaccines and COVID. Like they weren't going to keep giving the vaccines, or maybe that was going to be
that's right. That's
in
right.
question.
They've limited who can get a COVID vaccine because RFK Jr., which is so sad that he turned out to be so terrible after having such a good father. Um, yeah, that they've limited who can get a COVID vaccine, which, so before, if you could still get one, get it because it's still necessary. COVID
Well,
still
this,
exists.
yeah, and it's heating up again in the States, I think, or something I saw.
Well, there's a whole bunch of like communicable diseases that are running rampant in the United States at this
Well,
moment.
well, isn't this a shame? 5 years later, nobody's keeping distance and washing their hands. I miss seeing the disinfectant in the shops when you walk in.
Mm.
I miss that. They said at least keep it in the grocery store. I'm like, at least in the grocery, people handling fruit. At
Yeah, I
least
know.
you can't
What I
make people
don't
use
like?
it.
what I don't like anymore is that it used to be there was a whole thing about, you know, sneezing in your arm. And now
Oh
people are
yeah.
just sneezing all wild everywhere. It's terrible. Like just because you don't have COVID doesn't mean that you can't give us something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's gross. And the thought of holding a grocery cart, without something on my hands just drives me crazy now. Thinking, oh, not that I want to be paranoid or whatever, but I'm like, I'm not touching the grocery. I just get the plastic bags or have plastic gloves. I'm like, I'm not touching the grocery cart
Yeah,
handle.
I know that too. That too. It's like
Crazy.
for a brief moment we just didn't do a lot of nasty stuff, and now nasty is back in full force. Like,
Full force, and it makes me so sad because I'm thinking y'all are just waiting for the next thing to come around, and we don't have to be like this. But so yeah, as you say, if you haven't gotten your seasonal COVID shot, because I think they are seasonal now, what do you think? You should be,
I
whenever they come up with an update, you get it.
yeah, you should get the update for sure. Because it's very important. And you know what? Just for good measure, get your childhood vaccines like updated too. I got mine. The measles, mumps, rubella one. I got that one updated because I don't want to, I never had any of these things and I don't want them. You know what I
You
mean?
never had it, and you don't want it now.
No, if I have to go to the United States, I don't, which let us hope that I don't ever have to go there. Um, because there's a lot of crazy things happening, especially as far as people coming into the United States. And I just want
What's
to
up with that?
I just want to talk about quickly this case that I saw the other day about a woman. She's Australian, but she's married to an American. She's a former police officer, and her husband is stationed in Hawaii. So
Mhm.
she came to visit him for 3 weeks, and the people at the border looked at the amount of luggage she had, or no, not the amount of luggage, the amount of clothes she had, and said, "You can't come here because you have too many clothes. We think you're going to overstay your your time."
Yo, wow.
Yeah, it's so I just want to play something really short about it,
Okay.
because it's crazy. Like,
Well, I'm
first of all,
confused.
yeah, first of
Yeah.
all, who tells you how many clothes you can bring to the
That's
United
what I'm
States?
saying. I didn't know there was a limit on how much clothes you can travel with.
Well,
Some people
there's
change three
not.
times a day.
There's not, but it's just some kind of random. I mean, what if, I mean, okay, obviously her and her husband are not living together because of his deployment there. And so for me, like, if that was my husband, I would want my look to be, totally on point. Like, if I have to change my clothes, like, this is not the time to like slub around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
it's just crazy. But here, hold on. Let me just share this and we'll listen
Mm.
to a quick little whatever.
Lieutenant was detained and deported at Honolulu. She's an Australian citizen and she was pulled aside at immigration.
He went from completely composed to just yelling at the top of his lungs.
They sent her to FDC Honolulu. That is a federal prison. She spent a night in prison. They strip searched her. She missed dinner, so she spent the whole day without food. And then she got deported back to Australia the next day because she had too many clothes in her suitcase.
He kept telling me that I had too many.
Agent said that she had too little stuff. He didn't believe her story because she didn't have enough stuff for the trip that she was planning in the U.S. And that was why she was denied entry. So what is the acceptable amount of luggage that you can bring into the U.S.? If you bring too much, they send you to federal prison, strip search you, and then deport you back to Australia. And if you bring too little, they also deny entry. Not to mention, if you are two German backpackers and you haven't booked hotels for your entire stay in the U.S., they'll also send you to a federal facility where they will strip search you. Even though none of these people committed any crime. The U.S. is set to lose $12.5 billion in foreign tourism right now, and I expect that number to go much higher, and frankly, that number should go much higher. Our economy is going to come crashing down soon. Farmers now are sounding the alarm because their undocumented workers aren't coming to work. Small businesses are going out of business because they cannot afford to pay the tariffs. If hate is the primary driver behind your vote, then you will reap what you sow. So once again, I urge all foreign hikers, foreign visitors, don't come to the U.S. You are not safe. Spend your money elsewhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I've read too many stories actually about German tourists also being zapped, you know. It's but the
Remember
whole
when they were,
thing, go
oh, I
ahead.
was just gonna say, remember and when I don't want to say they were getting killed in Florida, but I remember two German
Yes,
tourists getting, yeah, you
I
remember.
lived in Florida at that time when that
Yeah.
happened. When that happened, and the tourism went down, like because people were like, yeah, I'm not going to come there if it's going to be totally dangerous or whatever. And now you spent money to fly to a country and then fly back, you know, and whatever. You know, I think about when I first moved to Europe, I went on a vacation where we went to the UK. And the UK has a lot of nice in the South. It has a lot of nice beaches and whatever. We never had any hotel reservations because we wanted to stay at the bed and breakfasts, you know, and we were just like, as far as we'll drive to a certain point that looks nice, and then we'll stop, find a bed and breakfast, and then, you know, see if we can get a room. And people don't always get have a completely, you know, booked out
They're throwing spontaneity out the window.
yeah.
No more backpacking across nowhere. Um, no, just driving until you find a place that you like, and then
Yeah.
trying to get a place to stay. It's maybe it seems odd for some people. Maybe if you, I don't know because I don't know what they're trying to look for. Sometimes I watch those border control shows for Australia and other things, and if you come and you don't have any luggage, they're like, that's suspicious. You came all the way from where? With no. So I can see that, but too much luggage, maybe you're trying to move in. But my husband's in the military here. It's always an exception. I
Yeah.
guess if they have these hard fast rules, so that's why they ask you those questions. I thought the questions are supposed to help you figure out if you fall into the exception rule. I've never heard the too
Yeah,
many
too much
clothes.
luck, too much
He said
clothes.
too many clothes. He didn't say you have too much luggage. He said too many
Yeah, too many
clothes.
clothes. I'm just like, you don't know what people are doing. Maybe they're going to a whole bunch of events and she needs to wear different outfits every time or whatever, you know, which is highly possible when you visit somewhere and it's like a special occasion. I don't understand that. I I
That was a
wonder,
little weird.
yeah, it is. It's totally weird. And you know, next year in the US, actually in North America. So it'll be in the US, Canada, and Mexico is the World Cup. And
Mhm.
I don't think that's going to go very well.
Now I didn't know that. So the all of North America is hosting the World
The
Cup. That's
World Cup.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That
there's
was an
like,
interesting bid. That's when we were
yeah.
friends.
Yes, that's when we were all friends. And now, you know, now who knows what's going to happen. So there's a couple of venues in Mexico, a couple, maybe three in Canada, but the majority of them are in the US. And so actually, what that does is say that people are going to come and they're going to travel around. That was the whole idea. You know, people like to come to North America. They could see Mexico, they could see Canada, they could see the US, and they would probably spend a lot of time traveling between places, driving, whatever. But that's not going to work when you have people who are like, you have too many things, or where are you going? You don't have a hotel, or, you know, you're I they're ruining the tourist industry for
Well, you
America.
know what I'm wondering because okay, tariff games. People are boycotting America. Are they even going to come to the and maybe just go to the Canada and Mexican games and skip whatever's happening in the U.S.?
That's a high probability. I wouldn't come there for it. I mean, no, I love America, but I'm sorry. If people are going to be harassed at the border because they're, I don't know what, too many clothes, not enough clothes, too not don't have a hotel room, whatever, you shouldn't have to. The United States should be open to people who have the proper, that I mean, and we have arrangements with so many countries where people just can come to the border and come in, come take a break. If I think about, there's been plenty of places that I've gone where I haven't brought a lot of stuff with me, you know, or even actually, even in the United States, sometimes a few years ago, my mom had a surgery and the cheapest ticket I could find only would let me bring a carry-on. So
Yeah,
I just got the carry-on, got a proper size carry-on and stuffed a few things in it. I told my mom, I guess I'm gonna have to wear your clothes because I can't, can't bring
exactly.
that much stuff,
Yeah.
and I just had like a backpack with a couple pairs of pants in it and some underwear, and that's pretty much it, So this is madness. Um, these things
Well,
have to
you know what?
change.
I'm thinking the Europeans aren't going to want to come, and they love football,
Yep.
soccer for the Americans.
Yep.
Because, okay, what's going on now? Okay, well, it was in 90 days to negotiate a tariff deal, but then this month, Trump said no, 50% or whatever on the EU. I don't know what he did and what's going on. So
But
what's
the tariffs are still there. The tariffs are still there.
at
They in
50%?
it's a
Not
very high rate. There's a few things that I used to order from the United States, and it was like no big deal to like order something. And the other day I got an email saying, "Oh, this thing you like is on sale. Don't you want to buy some?" And I thought, "Yeah, I do." And then I looked and I was like, "Okay, you don't have a shipping point from the EU, so I can't buy this." You know? So that's a business that's in America that's losing money because I can't afford, or I'm not going to afford to buy something. They made a deal with the UK, but I don't know if we talked about this already or not, but it was the exact same
mm-mm,
deal that they had before.
we
Before,
didn't.
yeah.
We
And
didn't talk
so
about it, but I remember watching the BBC around it, and they were like, um, according to I guess the Labor government, they were like, well, what the America had proposed was going to crush our automobile industry and put people out of work. So we're taking this. It's better than what was gonna happen, and they're still scrambling trying to get their economic trade deals together following Brexit. So they were like, "Hey, don't crush us," because they said it was going to definitely crush their automobile industry. But I think there's still something 50%. But then
yeah,
it's so fluid. But then the head of the EU Commission, I think she said they had a conversation and it's off to the end of June. I don't know. I can't keep up with it, which is why I keep
yeah, but
asking
but
you.
it's so the best thing I can say is if you're going to buy something from America, there are American companies that have shipping points in the EU, and you just have to be really certain. Check out what it says when it talks about shipping, because you're not. It could end up costing you way more than the actual product cost. There's yeah, not going to do that. That's just insane.
So we
Um,
have to do your research,
yeah.
products that you normally buy, check and see where they're coming from. And yeah, I'm still waiting on something that I ordered, what, March, yeah, that they said was going to be delayed by the tariffs. And I was like, were they talking tariffs in March? I guess. And now I don't know. They already sent me something free to keep me sweet, like a free massage gun,
Hmm.
because it's for this massage pad. And I'm like, I want my massage pad. So I have to say, I haven't bugged them because I'm like, I know it's crazy. I know they're going crazy. But I'm like, I need to get some resolution before they go out of business because they can't get their deals anymore.
Yes,
So
exactly. What is so disappointing about all these tariffs, and for me, is that Donald Trump, and I can say this every episode, he doesn't understand how the economy works.
well, this is what I don't understand. How can he not? And then doesn't he have economic advisors?
Well, all of his economic advisors, that one weirdo guy, whatever his what, he wrote a book. Oh, what is that man's name? He wrote a book and he referenced himself with a pseudonym in there about how tariffs would work and how it would be great. I just can't. I mean, so Donald Trump doesn't know anything about the economy, and neither do his economic advisors. Um, in fact, if you recall, or maybe you don't recall, that Donald Trump told Walmart that they should eat the tariffs, the difference in the price, and not
Oh
charge
yeah.
people extra, which is ludicrous. Like, how long do you think you'll be in business if you sell something that at a lower price than you're paying for it? Like, how long do you think that business will last? I mean, it's kind of insane that he doesn't know anything about business, he doesn't know anything about the economy, and that somehow people have mistakenly believed that this crazy man knows something about either one of those things. He does not. Maybe that's why all his businesses went bankrupt because he sold everything at a lower price than it cost him to get it. I mean, that's like business 101. Like that's like business minus 101. You don't sell things cheaper than what you pay for them. No one is in their right mind, and Walmart isn't going to do it. They're not going to do it. Other places aren't going to do it. Um, and the places that do succumb to Trump's will about charging people less for than they're paying, they'll be out of business, and it won't take long. Um, Not at all. But let's switch for a
Yeah, it's
moment.
just okay. Yeah,
No,
it's
let's
getting
switch for a
depressing.
moment. You know, I think it was it yesterday or the day before that it was the fifth anniversary of George Floyd's
George
death.
Floyd's murder,
His
murder.
murder, sorry, very much
Yeah,
of murder. I um I remember those times very well. And we were on a completely, as a nation, we were on a different path. That was, that we were on a different path to
we
try
sure were.
to change things in America. And now here we are. I mean, there was a big commemoration in Minneapolis, and,
Yeah,
and then also Reverend Al
same day, I
Sharpton
think.
had a commemoration too. And the WNBA had a tribute. There were
Yeah,
different tributes all around the country.
yeah.
Um, and
But
that
let's go
what's
back to something you said. We were so hopeful. Let's talk about that for a moment because it's a stark contrast to what kill DEI, you know, put the guy on leave that runs the National Museum of African American History and Culture. We're not woke. That was one of our most wokest moments
Yep,
as a nation, don't you think? I mean,
I think so. And it changed a lot of people by the fact that we all saw that video and we all saw what happened. We
that's
all
right.
saw this police officer snuff the life out of George Floyd. And
Nine
then,
minutes it took.
yeah, like none of that had to happen. But I mean, and now this police officer is in jail and Trump keeps talking about, you know, giving him a pardon, which I mean, okay, he's already pardoned a bunch of criminals. It would just be one more criminal that he pardoned.
You
Um,
believe the guy is asking? I know. But he's like, he let the rioters off. Why not me?
yeah, well, they did some really terrible things too, and many of them have gone back into jail after because criminals be criming, and so they got out of jail and then they started doing other crimes and then they got locked up again. So that's the way it is. Like, you commit crimes, there's somebody there, doesn't matter, you get off on one thing and there's somebody else there to lock you away. Oh, speaking of other criminals that Trump has pardoned, um, Jared Kushner's father got a pardon from, and now he's the ambassador to France. How
Okay,
embarrassing.
wait. Okay, wait a second. What was his crime?
It was blackmail. Um, yeah, it was blackmail. His father, can I put this? His father,
Blackmail.
yeah, his father, Charles Kushner, he was convicted of illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, wiretapping, and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Um, and the crazy part about this story is that he hired a prostitute to seduce his sister's husband and then recorded it and then gave it to his sister and said, "Don't testify against me. Otherwise, I'm going to make this public."
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, he's not a good person at all. And now he's our ambassador to France. I'm not even sure how that's possible, but okay. Yeah.
Well, in line with our first, I think, yeah, ambassador France, he was a slave owner. So we're not batting 1,000 in that
No,
category.
no, we're not. But it's like the Trump administration only picks the worst people. If you remember when he walked down that escalator and he was like, they're not bringing their best, and it's like, yeah, neither are we. We're not bringing
Oh,
our best.
we're definitely not
Not,
bringing our best and our brightest. And
yeah,
that's a shame.
yeah,
We're
it's not.
definitely not bringing our best and our brightest.
No, we're not. We're specifically picking the worst people. But could you imagine that you would blackmail your own sister? Like,
No, I'm stunned by that. I'm stunned. I'm like, it's trying to sink in because I'm stunned. I'm like, you set your brother-in-law up just to blackmail your sister
yep,
to destroy her marriage, whether
yep.
she knew what was going on or not, you know. But to think that so did she keep her mouth closed?
Well, no, because
That didn't work.
no, it didn't work. Because I mean, if somebody tried to do that to me, I'd just be pissed. I'm like, I don't know who you
But
think you
that's
are.
but that's what I'm thinking. That probably backfired. I mean, who knows how she dealt with her husband, but I'm sure she didn't like her. But she's thinking, I'm rude. How's her son?
Yeah,
He's the
and
son-in-law. Now the
her
son is
son
the
and
son-in-law. Oh yeah,
right
they're
of
a
Trump.
mess.
Yeah, yeah,
They're a
they're a
mess.
mess, and it's it's a little bit, you know, I mean, really, it's terrible, and it's just one more terrible thing that is happening in the Trump, world. Let's talk about Harvard
Ooh,
because
Harvard,
yeah,
Harvard.
Harvard, yes, is I am they are Harvard is being attacked by the Trump administration. Now, I've seen some things that said that um what's his name, Barron, didn't get into Harvard.
I
And
was gonna say
so,
who didn't get in. I wonder was it our president didn't get in? Dare he even apply? But that's my first thought. Who didn't get in that family?
yeah, yeah, and it's Barron. I don't know if that's true or not, but they are taking away their federal grants. They're taking away their federal contracts, and they're citing the school as the campus is just, full of anti-Semitism because they had a few protests. These are all kind of bullshit lies, but Harvard is standing up to them. One of the other things that they just did was to say that they couldn't have any international students,
Which is
um,
crazy.
which is crazy. It's like 27% of the students at Harvard are international, and I think this is I think this would set a precedent for almost all schools. And the thing is, what people have to realize is that when you're an international student, you're actually paying like twice as much as somebody in the country um, to go to school. It's usually, the school I went to, we had a lot of international students. We had students from all over the world, and the amounts that they paid to go to school were way higher than what you paid as just a normal U.S. citizen. Even if you were out of state, it was still like twice as much or more to go there. So these people that are applying to Harvard, getting in, paying their tuition and fees, they're paying thousands and thousands of dollars. They're not coming there for free. And one of the things that I've read is that taking away these international students is like literally billions of dollars in money because they have they they have apartments, they eat, they drink, they go out, they buy clothing. They're doing everything that we are just on a temporary
Mhm.
basis. Plus their knowledge and the cultural exchange that we get is invaluable.
Did Trump go to college at all?
Well, he
Other
says he
than Trump
did.
University? And
No,
I don't mean Trump University.
he went to Wharton undergrad. Allegedly, because if you recall, back when he was running for president the first time, he told them to seal his records and not give them to anybody.
He
So,
was going to threaten them. What was he going to do? He threatened a lawsuit if they
yeah,
reject his.
exactly.
Um,
That's his jam, to threaten a
I mean, you
lawsuit.
don't have to be proud. And I'm thinking, come on, man, not everybody's proud of their undergraduate grades. It's okay if you got your degree. But to the point of like, if you got your degree, you got your degree. Who cares what your
But
GPA was?
it's quite clear to me that that man has never cracked a book. He went to Wharton Business School and he ain't look at nothing because he doesn't know anything about the economy. It's so
Well, the
stupid.
reason, well, the reason I asked is because anybody who went to university knows how wonderful that experience is, and you want to be with the best and the brightest, and you do want to meet foreign students. You want to meet as many people as you can from as many places as you can. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah,
why, and then why attack one of the best known universities in the world? All that research that's done there. Um, but he's coming for the HBCUs too now.
yep,
So he's going for Harvard and Howard, we can say.
yep.
So that's why I wonder, is he just pro anti education? Well, didn't happen in May, but we know he doesn't like the Department of Education. So this on higher education, the guy just doesn't like
He doesn't, he wants everyone to
education.
be. I read something about people who are authoritarian or dictators, and it's very clear in the Trump administration. They want everyone around them to be dumber than than they are, so that they can be the smartest one. And so we have a whole country full of people. I mean, basically, like, 90% of the people in America are smarter than him. Um, and so he doesn't want people to have education. Remember when he said, I love the undereducated? He said that in his first term, that he loved the undereducated. Well, he's trying to make us all undereducated for sure.
Oh, I don't remember all the Trumpisms from before, but
Oh,
that
well.
sounds right on point. I love the undereducated. Golly, I love the undereducated.
Yeah,
I can't
which is demeaning.
It's a lot
Demeaning
of
to,
things. I'm trying to feel like, what do you? I love the undereducated, so I can educate them, so I can take
no.
advantage of them, so I can feel superior to them. I'm like, where are you going with it? I love the undereducated.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I know. I mean,
I love the undereducated. That's
yes.
hilarious. That's one of the funniest things. Like, because see, we can take. He gives us too much material to run with. Because he's
Hmm.
like, because they like me. I feel comfortable
Yeah.
around with my people. I mean,
Yes.
where are you going with that? I love the undereducated thing.
Yes. I think it's totally weird, personally. Like,
Other
why
than
do you
tickling me pink, it tickles me. But now it's frightening me. But here's the thing: how long can Harvard Okay, you said they took their funding away. I think Harvard, aren't they fighting them in court? And NPR is
They
fighting them in
are
court.
the trial starts I think on the 29th. Uh
Hmm.
and I think that Harvard can fight them for eternity. They have an endowment of over $50 billion.
I
So,
know, but the endowments are there for a reason, not freaking lawsuits against the government. And I hear you, but I also think that a lot of the Howard wealth, like if they needed, yeah, there could be a defense fund that Howard
well,
alums would fund. Because
plus,
my thought is, great, you've got you one of the most richly endowed. I don't want this to hurt them financially, other than like you say, are the foreign enrollments stopped now, or that's
no,
everything is
no,
on hold?
a judge interceded, and so
Okay.
that's on hold, or not on hold, but they're allowed to continue until this is settled in court. I think that they're going to lose. I think that Trump is going to lose. Um, and it's also just one more hallmark of his authoritarian dictatorship, that he wants to control every aspect. And you mentioned NPR. Um, that is that is so. I don't normally
So
ask
you're
people to
going for the
donate
vet. You're
the
going for
vets.
Big Bird. Now I'm really
Yep.
outraged.
Yes, that's right. NPR, he's cutting funding to NPR and PBS. And so this is the time, if you feel like you can afford it, maybe donate a little bit of money to these two orgs, because we all grew up with PBS, or most of us did. Everybody grew up with Sesame Street, you know? And I think our children's children should have this too, you know?
Kermit and Big Frog are icons known around the world. I can't imagine a child not having that. And I mean, they just teach. If you don't want us to have the Department of Education, give us let us keep Sesame Street. Where are kids gonna learn? Where are kids gonna learn? But I'm not surprised because he's like the Grinch. He wants to steal joy. I'm not surprised that he
Like
would
the
come for
Grinch.
kids
He
things.
is the Grinch. Oh my God. He is the Grinch. Even the misshapen head and the big belly. Oh my God.
Remember
Speaking of
Mr.
big belly,
Grinch.
yeah, he is for real. But uh Trump is taking Ozempic.
Okay, what is Ozempic?
Ozempic
And
is
what do you take it for?
Ozempic is for well, it was originally a medicine for diabetes, but they found that when you took it, you lost weight. Um, but if you look at
Maybe he's
Trump,
got diabetes.
no, he does not, because they don't give that to people for diabetes anymore. They give strictly like a weight loss thing now. So you
It didn't
take the
work for
shot.
diabetes.
Well, no, it works, but they make more money
Oof.
for fat weight
Okay.
loss. But he's still
Okay.
fat. So no matter how much,
That's
no
what
matter
they were
how many,
talking about. The fat guy talking about Ozempic is not working. Jon Stewart did something. Okay, now I know what he was talking about. The fat guy.
yeah, the fat, he gave some kind of speech. And the thing about Trump is that he lies almost all the time. But when he wants to talk about himself, he'll say, I was talking to this man, blah, blah, blah. And he said this, that he was taking Ozempic and it was so expensive and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, and he said, and the guy's still fat. And I'm like, yeah, we know you're talking about yourself.
It's like
know
that
you're
old
talking about
asking
yourself.
for a friend. Asking
Yeah,
for a friend.
exactly. Asking for a friend, like it's not me. I'm like, so he can take as much Ozempic as he wants, but he'll still be a fat ass. Um,
Well, you know what? He's trying to be. What is he supposed to be? 6'2", two something.
he's 6'2". He's not 6'3". He wears lifts in his shoes. It's so pathetic. It's like,
Because he has a tall wife who wears high heels. I mean,
no,
what kind of man wears lifts?
a person that's insecure. Why is a person that's over 6 foot wearing lifts? That's what gets me. I am just like, I'm okay. Dear gentle listeners, I'm 6'1". I don't have to wear heels to be tall. And I don't feel like, oh, if there's another person that's taller than me, I don't feel like it's the worst thing that ever happened in the world. Um,
Well, you know what? Speaking of Ozempic, this cuts to science. You would think he would like science because science is how backs pharmaceutical research. And I mean, you're taking drugs. Why are you going to cut the science funding?
well, I think that they're cutting science because it's one of those situations where science is helping me, but it shouldn't help anyone else because science disproves a lot of things, that a lot of nonsense that people believe. And so if you want to keep people following along, then you take away any actual knowledge and you let them keep their sort of off base ideas and weird thoughts about things. I mean, just like you let them think things like, oh, the COVID can't be stopped by a vaccine or whatever. It's just a way to keep it's a way to keep people down. As he The idea has always been to cut America off from the rest of the world. From the moment that this man said, I want to build a wall, he walls can keep things out, but they also keep you in. And now, just like the small deviation, this golden dome that he's trying to build over the United States, like a missile protection system, it's like Reagan's Star Wars thing, but
Okay,
worse.
wait a minute. I missed that Golden Dome. Sounds like the name of a James Bond movie.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But Israel has this iron dome, and so we have to have a golden one. And so if you Google it, and you'll see this picture of like kind of like a net over the United States that they want to be able to stop missiles. Why do we need to stop missiles? Is someone firing missiles at us? I mean, I don't know.
If we keep going on like we're going, they
Well,
will.
yeah, but I mean, pretty soon, yeah, we're going to aggravate people to the point. But what I'm saying is that it is a boondoggle, just like Star Wars was back in Reagan's days. It's a boondoggle to give money to the military contractors to try to make something that we don't need. But if for some reason they're successful, then it definitely will cut us off from the rest of the world, for sure.
Well, one thing we haven't mentioned yet. Ooh, what's her title? But whatever Bondi is, she doesn't know what habeas corpus means.
Oh, oh, yes, you mean the Pam Bondi, the Attorney General? Is
Okay, the
that who you mean?
AG. The AG
Yeah.
doesn't know what habeas. But what
Oh
law
my
school did
God.
she go to? What law
Well,
school did she go to? Trump
I
University Law School?
I know, not even that good. Like she bought a degree from somewhere. I'm just like, how are you a lawyer and you don't even know what the Constitution says? That's why I'm encouraging everyone, tell your children, you can go to law school because it clearly isn't very difficult. Anyone can get a law degree. They're just handing them out like, here, hey, take this. Like really, it's a shame that that
Habeas
that
freaking corpus. I bet you learned that as a first year law student. I bet. You
yes,
have to. I know you get contracts 101, but I know you get habeas. Yeah, constitutional law, that's a required course. That's not an elective.
yes, it's not an elective. Yes, it's not. That's the basis of our laws.
It's not like I want
So
to specialize in, like I want to be a sports agent. I want some special. No, everyone's taking constitutional law. You hear me? Or
yes,
we're going to lose our accreditation.
yes, like it's not. It's a shame that this woman is representing our country as the attorney general, and she does not even know the basics of our. And even when she said it, she sounded unsure when she said,
It's
even when she
like
just
when the
made something up.
president can do whatever, something, and they were like, the one said person, they were like, no, I'm cutting you off now. That is not the definition of habeas corpus.
No.
That might be one of the most frightening things that I heard
Yes.
this month because people are literally disappearing because they're not,
Yes.
you know, they're ignoring habeas corpus. And that is super frightening. I would not want to enter the US.
Absolutely not.
There's no habeas
Um,
corpus. That's one of the things that made us great in the world. That whether you
yes.
were a citizen or not, whether you're a citizen or not, if you're accused of a crime, you have a right to a defense. You have a right to charges, to know what you're being charged, and a right to a defense. You can't just get rounded up and snatched because they said you are a gang member. They didn't
Yes.
prove any of it for any of them.
Yeah,
Whoa.
without proof, you can get
But listen,
rounded up for everything.
for anything and everything, and we know that it's called trumped up charges. That term was around before we knew this guy was going to be president. So I
Yes.
mean, so wait a second. One of the most egregious things that they did this month was having votes in the middle of the night for
Ah,
the
yes.
one big beautiful bill
The big crappy bill. Yes.
in the middle of the
It's
night.
in the middle of the night and it just barely passed with one vote in the House. Um, and it is going to devastate the United States. So please contact your senators and tell them, no, absolutely not. This is ridiculous. You cannot, they want to give rich people tax breaks and they want to make the rest of us suffer to give these tax breaks. But here's what I think. I think that if rich people don't pay taxes, then they don't get a say. If we're paying for everything, fuck these people. I mean, eat the rich, bitches. Like this is I'm not even I know I'm making Adrian, if you could see her face, I'm making her
I
choke,
almost
but
choked on my tea.
I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. You're rich. Why are you not paying taxes? What? And then the taxes on people on the lower half of the income actually went up, despite the fact that they're pretending to do something to help people, with this taxes, no taxes on overtime or tips. But that's just going to bite you. That's going to, they did the same thing the last time they passed this bill. What they did was they lowered the number. So they automatically lowered everybody's number of deductions or dependents or whatever. So I knew several people when they got their taxes done, they actually owed money because the money didn't come out of their check. Because you still have to account for the money. So this is just another trick where they let you keep a little extra money up front, but then you get the bill at the end and you still have to end up paying it. So we get to pay extra money and they get to pay the rich people get to get off scot-free. And this is just some bullshit. I mean, really. I would suggest for everybody to go look up the Declaration of Independence and just read it. It's a short document, you know, it's very short. But if you read that Declaration of Independence, you will see that we're in the same place that they were then. So we cannot let them get away with this. Um,
Let's try to do this bloodless. Let's try not to have a freaking revolution, a civil war. Let's do this blood because there's a very few percentage of people who benefit from what's going on. So we can do this just in mass without violence by,
yes.
as Angela said, reading our founding documents and then acting upon them, making our representatives. We've got a lot of representatives. Shout out to Jasmine Crockett. Who is this sister on the Ways and Means that is calling them out for everything that they're doing? She's saying all this legislation could be written with the masses in mind, and you're not doing that. Okay,
Nope.
touch the green energy. Let me hear you go off about that. Touch the green
Oh,
energy incentive.
yes, because because Donald Trump thinks that climate change is a hoax. and he wants to. It's one reason why they're shutting down all the national parks, because underneath the national parks are a lot of like minerals and oil, and they want to drill, baby fucking drill, and they want to destroy the what's left of our climate. Um, and they want to get rid of any of the what was it? The IRA bill that Biden signed that was moving us towards using renewable energy, which is, you know, the thing is, however you feel about renewable energy, the key word is energy. It's energy, and that's what we need. We need energy, and it doesn't make it better because it comes from oil and coal. It does not, not at all. We're going to
Listen,
like
I
we
can't find.
go
No, I
ahead.
was gonna. No, I was just gonna try to find this thing from this woman. But before you go on about the green energy incentives, what about cuts to Medicaid and SNAP? They want work requirements attached to that, maybe above what is already
Yes, they
required.
want 80 hours for people to work. And here's the thing, 80 hours a month. But here's the thing, majority of people that receive Medicaid and SNAP work. They
They're
they
called
they
the
already
working
have
poor
jobs.
people. They're called
Yeah,
the working poor.
and those who don't work that are receiving these benefits, they're not working because they are either too ill to work, too old to work, they have some kind of a problem or disability, or they're caregivers for someone who has a disability.
Remember SNAP, these are children getting feed. You're taking food out of kids' mouths.
Yep,
Right? Do they
you're
want the
taking.
kids working too?
Yeah, they do. That is actually in many states. I know in Florida and in Oklahoma and a few other states, they've lowered their restrictions on child labor. So let's just make sure we have this clear. Your children, my children, they ain't going to get no education, and they're just going to work. They're not going to get any food. And then rich people will just be maxing and relaxing, flying their
You going
jets,
back to
destroying the climate.
Victorian England or something?
It's the Gilded Age. I know. What was that? It
Oliver,
was the Charles. It was the best of times. It was
Oliver
the
Twist.
worst of
At the
times.
time. But listen, this is who I was looking for. Representative Gwen Moore.
Hmm.
She has been laying it down. If you don't know who she is, Representative Gwen Moore. She has been, she pledged to say, I'm going to show y'all everything they're doing with these votes in the middle of the night. And she's reading people. So, okay. Did you see that buffoonery that happened in the White House during that official visit from the president of South Africa?
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I have a lot to say about that. I'm sorry. I know I'm
Girl,
just going off on things, but what I would suggest is that people there was this guy, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit underprepared. There is this guy that was there also. This is the part that they're not showing. Um that he said he was a white South African, and he said that what you think is happening in South Africa is not happening. It's hold on. I'm just gonna play this. It's this guy. His name his name is Johan Rupert, and he is a South African billionaire. He was in the
right.
entourage of the president of South Africa. And he just basically blew up the claim about white genocide and all these farmers and this and that. So hang on, here we go.
Wind all of those things properly, you will see I'm the biggest target of that rabble rouser. Number one for over 10 years, Mr. Malema. In fact, the first time I met him, he was in the youth league with that gentleman And look how he's changed.
Right.
We have too many deaths, but it's across the board. It's not only white farmers, it's across the board. And we need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on us. I mean, US basics, the ridicule. So if you can help us. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. 2 commissioners, a tough mayor. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie is right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Grafrenet. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border.
Okay. So, but you heard him say it.
Yeah, and I think I saw that the billionaire exactly. He interjected. He was standing. The presidents were sitting down, and then
Yeah.
there was their entourage behind. And he stepped up and was like, "Yeah, across the board." Plus, who prepares his papers? Because the president was showing things that had happened in Rwanda.
Yes. That's right. That's right. Because all of the people on his staff are either they're dumb or they're malevolent. And I think in this case it was just malevolence. So there
Like,
is a
who treats people like that on a diplomatic visit?
Donald
Started
Trump.
into Zelensky, and then the president. So, if you missed this story, Google the social media, because the president of South Africa has come back out with a response and said, that was an ambush, and he was hostile. He was heated talking about this. And then the news. Please fact check this too. I think. Okay, I don't want to say it because I don't know the facts, but I can say something else that happened. What was that? It wasn't at the White House, but some party that the president had with foreigners that were there, and you could buy something,
Oh, that was
investing.
the crypto party where he sold if you bought a certain amount of crypto, you could have dinner with him. And oh my God, I don't want to be petty. Okay, I do want to be petty. The food was terrible.
What,
Like
is
it
it
was
dinner at McDonald's or something?
it
The
was
food was
no,
at
but it was
McDonald's.
it was worse. It was like you remember those old like Stovers or the frozen dinners? That's what it
How do
looked
you
like.
save this? Wait a minute, in the tin container, in the tin little thing that it comes
But
in.
I mean it wasn't in the container, but it looked like somebody took it out of the container and just arranged it on a plate. Oh my God, it was terrible. It's like he made these people give him all this money, which is a crime.
Let's
Okay?
talk
This
about
is a
the
crime.
emoluments thing. Didn't he get a jet this month too from Qatar?
Yes, that's right. He got a jet from Qatar, like $400 million jet, which is going to cost $1 billion for us to fix it so that he can use it, which is bullshit.
But isn't Congress going to make him give it back or something? I mean, the emoluments clause. You can't accept
Yes,
gifts
these are
from
crimes.
foreign
Yes,
government, from foreign government.
that's right. It's a crime. But then good old Pam Bondi said, no, it's perfectly okay. I'm the Attorney General. I read it. I read it in the Constitution. I'm just joking about that part. But she might as well have read in the Constitution because she's never read it. So yeah.
But seriously, okay, we haven't even got to the end of the list. But I'm trying to figure out if all of these are such clear violations, why this is just not happening that they give the. Okay, let's talk about something. Okay, how we're pushing back.
All
Legal
right. Yeah.
challenges, mass protests, lawsuits. What's going on? People
Well,
aren't having it.
people aren't having it, and there are very few of the legal challenges to Donald Trump's reign of terror that haven't been stopped. Um, there are lots of attorneys generals around the country who are filing suit. they are trying to stop the actions on these executive orders, which, just for the record, for everyone, an executive order is not a law. Okay? It is not. It is not a law. Laws come from Congress, you know. What is that Schoolhouse Rock? Just
I
Google
remember
Schoolhouse
that.
Rock.
I
I'm
love
just a
Schoolhouse
bill.
Rock.
Yeah,
As
I'm
I'm
just a
on a
bill.
bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long way from something to committee. But listen, um, yeah, you got me off on a tangent with that. Oh, but okay, no, but the Supreme Court did stand up to him this month, though, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They did. They stood up to him and they told him, I mean, they told him a lot of things. They told him that you can't just kidnap people and send them to other countries. You know, they're also starting to send people to Yemen and to some other places, El
No, that's
Salvador.
horrible. No, this is no, 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 no. So you'll never find them and get them back.
No, no, they'll never come back. It's I don't know what's wrong with him.
This is human
Okay?
trafficking. So hopefully the international authorities are going to charge us with human trafficking.
Yes. All I can hope is that when this is over, we have another Nuremberg trial. We do, because
Mm.
all
There's
of these
something
things are human
similar.
rights
They
abuses.
are. Now you made me think of something. The brain drain that happened after World War II is happening now in the States.
Yes, people are leaving.
Professors are going to Canadian universities and other universities. Um, Students that would have gone to Harvard now probably be thinking that they're going to go to McGill or Le Sorbonne or God forbid Cambridge or Oxford,
Yes.
right? We're not going to get the best and brightest. We're not going to have the inventions. And what is this about turning us into a country where we assemble cheap goods instead of a where we come up with
Well,
intellectual property
what
and
what
patents?
did what did I tell you about making the children work? You know, using their, as Trump said, their tiny hands to assemble things. Like
Oh my
that's what they want
God.
to do.
Oh gosh. Okay, because yeah, okay, well, he said Walmart eat it up. Eat the tariffs, and they're like, no, our margins are thin. That's not how we
Yeah.
make our money. We make our money by exploiting our workers, not by not by passing on, to our customers. And then Apple, if you don't start building phones here, what's their tariff going to be? And
A
people, Apple
lot.
was like, you know how long it would take us to set up here? Nobody wants the job. It's completely crazy. But
Well, yes, the whole idea of us becoming a manufacturing country more than what we are uh, is ridiculous because number one, who wants to work in a factory? Like, raise your hands. Like, you can email me at blackcaucus@democratsabroad.org if you want to work in a factory. I'm sure I'll get no emails on that subject. I don't think
I get
it,
other invitations. Now, factory workers, that used to be a way of life in the States. I
it
know
used to
we
be.
things
It
change.
Things have
Don't
changed. We haven't been a really big factory manufacturing country for like the majority of my life. Like, so I don't think that that's the way to do it. We need more high tech, more, we need more high tech jobs. I can't hear you, Adrian. You're on mute. Okay, well, I will just continue to talk. So there's a whole bunch of protests that have gone on in the month of May.
hit
And
unmute. Thanks for inviting me to unmute. But what I was
okay,
going to say is, I'm old enough to remember this commercial. Do you remember it? Look for the
the
union
union
label
label.
when
Yeah,
you were in it. So we were making something if you're looking for the label.
yes,
We were making
that's true.
clothes.
But
We were making
we don't
something.
make clothes anymore. You know, there was a whole big like I'm not going to even say
What
it was
about
an
in
expose.
LA? Okay.
No, there was a big sort of expose about Louis Vuitton and how it's mostly made in China and then they ship it over and they finish it off. So that is what is actually happening in a lot of
And they can
cases.
say that it's made in Italy because it's finished off
That's
in
right.
Italy.
So
And
we're
that's why, you
finishing.
know what? Buy the what you call it? the fake, because they already got the
I
fake
know.
stuff. They got this.
They used to make that stuff in Turkey also. And I'm gonna tell you what, I don't want to like put myself too much out on Front Street, but like that I have plenty of like fake, like but it's not fake. It's the same stuff. It's just not
I got a
the
few.
official. Yes, it's just not the official stuff. So I do not feel any
I
shame
had a
at
Thai
all.
friend. I had a Thai friend in Stockholm. Whenever she went home, she came back with something for me, and you couldn't tell the difference.
No, because
I'm like,
there
I
is
don't know
no
where you're getting
difference.
it from. She's like, girl, for you. And I'd be like, she had
Yeah,
Rolexes for us one time too, but they
yeah,
didn't. I don't think it's still ticking. But and I did learn a Rolex, like, it's not supposed to take. I think the band sweeps.
no,
Anyway, but if
no.
you were just gonna look at it from across the room, you would think it's a.
You
If
like it.
somebody looks at it like that, so with those with the knockoff bags, maybe if somebody looked at the zipper or really looked at the, and then it's not gonna have a license number or whatever. Like if somebody, like I wouldn't take one of those fake. I read a novel, can't think of what it is, but it was about this woman that was in this kind of business. She kind of got in it in a funny way. And their scheme was like, yeah, you take it back to like maybe not the Louis Vuitton store, but Neiman Marcus or someplace. And by the time they figure out it's a fake, you done gone and got the real bag.
Yeah,
Like you wanted to exchange colors or something, and then you got took the fake, got the real $3,000 bag, and then you're selling it for like 500, and you're like, that cost me $10, or
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, it's but yeah, so a lot of things that people think that are being made in the United States or in Europe, like they are not. They are not. So no one wants to do
So
these type of jobs.
no, so yeah, we're not going to change our economy, and
Not like that.
pushing Apple and Samsung and Apple and all of that. Who else? I forget what other big businessman said no, basically. But I don't know. I'm surprised enough of the corporate communities aren't saying you're killing us.
Well, a
Walmart was
lot
basically
of
like, we're not doing it.
yeah, a lot of companies are like, what is it? See, I haven't shopped enough in the United States in a long time, but I know that Target is really suffering because they got rid of their DEI initiatives.
And the people, yeah, I think the people really showed out for Target and said, we're not having Target. Target's cute. We like it. I remember I was excited when a Target came to walking distance from my parents' house because all those big boxes were always in the suburbs. They weren't
Hmm.
in the District of Columbia. And so since we were a state, we were never going to get a big box. But I remember Whole Foods finally came and Target and Walmart even. And you're like, great, because it's convenient. They buy en masse. Maybe I can get a good price. I do know, I hope all the Black people that stop Target buying at Target are buying from the Black vendors directly from their websites, because that was a big blow to our community. Target,
Yes,
again, after the murder of George Floyd, they're based
yes,
in Minneapolis.
yes. You know,
They're based in Minnesota.
everybody,
How dare they?
a lot of, I guess they thought, well, it'll be okay. People will still come there and shop, but no, no, absolutely not. No,
I mean, you would
forget
think
it.
that somewhere their CEO would have been like, wait a minute, no, this thing happened in our backyard. And we made the pledge. We're leading the way. We're Minnesotans. We do things differently. We've got coach walls. Minnesotans are nice. We're not gonna. That police chauffeur, that was an Obama anomaly, right?
Hmm.
No, they were the first to cave, and then they got
Yep,
sued by their own shareholders. But
yep.
going back to this month, how else? Okay, we're pushing back protests. I think you've been to a couple this month, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been to a couple of protests. Definitely people are protesting in every state and all around the United States. And there's a
Around
few
the
big
world.
protests around the world. They're protesting around the world. There's a few big protests coming up in June 6th is the veterans protest. They're protesting in Washington, D.C. So if you're a veteran and you can go to Washington, D.C. on June 6th, go there. And then
Is that one
on
by the 50501 movement? I don't
No,
know.
that's by this veterans org that's putting this together.
Support our vets. June 6th. Support our
Yeah,
vets.
that's right. So please support them. If you can't go there, they are also taking donations. The other big protest that's coming up is our No Kings, No Tyrants protest on June 14th. There, if you look on Indivisible website, you will see, you can also look on Democrats Abroad website, you will see hundreds of protests all over the world that you can go to. So go there, show out,
Even
show
in
up.
Sweden, we're trying to get our permits. Um, my colleague in Stockholm, she inspired my colleagues in Malmö. So hopefully we'll have something on the East Coast and down south. Sweden has not had, I don't think we had a hands-off protest. You did, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a hands-off protest.
What was the thing about that hands-off? What, our Social Security?
Hands off everything. It was like whatever issue meant to hands off Social Security, hands off our schools, hands off education, hands off our government, hands off. Or as
Basically,
you would
don't touch
say,
me.
yeah, don't touch anything. Just keep your hands off, you know? Yeah.
Don't
And
touch
so
me.
June 14th, yeah, June 14th is Flag Day. It's also the Army birthday. And it's also the day that you know, our wannabe dictator Trump, it's his birthday, and he wants to have a big military parade in Washington, D.C., where he's going to destroy the streets of the Capitol
Do
with
we know
tanks.
what's going on with that? Is that really happening?
Yes, that
I
is really happening. It is really happening. I can't even, he's going to roll tanks in the streets of Washington, D.C., and we're all going to be
I
the worst.
don't think our streets are that wide. I guess he's going to come down Pennsylvania Avenue. It's got to
I
be down
don't know.
Pennsylvania Avenue
I
because
don't
that's where
know,
the.
but the reason that you don't roll tanks down normal streets is because they can't support them. That's
Well,
why,
my thing is like we don't have those parade avenues like they do in Europe. I guess he wants to be like Putin and have a big military. Was he
yes,
bringing out everything we got?
I guess. I don't know. I think whatever it is, it's disgusting because we don't have military parades because we're not a military junta or a dictatorship, despite the fact that Trump seems to think we are. Um, So yeah, get out there, protest. They're still doing take down Tesla. You can go to Tesla takedown, I think .com or just Google it,
Oh
Tesla
yeah,
takedown.
how's his business going?
Oh,
How's
it's
his
going
business going?
crappy. And he's got a sad aw. Like
Oh,
he thought for some reason that people would still buy his crap cars, you know? Like like nobody wants a Tesla. The sales have plummeted all around the world. Sales of Tesla have plummeted. Um, and so
let's keep
very
that
happy about
momentum
it.
going. Let's keep that
Yep.
momentum going, people. If you already have a Tesla, don't expect service, I guess. I don't know. But
No, sell it while you still can. No. Although I probably won't get a great trade-in value, but yeah, it's he needs to he needs to be arrested. Musk needs to be arrested. Donald Trump and JD Vance need to be impeached. And then in
listen,
2026, we need to do all these things and we need to take back the House and we need to take the Senate and we need to then, as Donald Trump is so fond of saying, we need vengeance for this bullshit. Really.
so is that it? He's coming for vengeance.
Well, he said it during his campaign. I am your vengeance. He said it repeatedly.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Well,
But
and
I can't give you chapter and verse, but I think we know that one. And he's this is the man with the upside down Bible who
yes, he's
didn't
not a
fall asleep,
Christian.
and he fell asleep. Was it
He
Carter's
fell asleep.
funeral
He fell
in
asleep during
church?
everything. He fell asleep during his trip to the Middle East when they were trying to show him things. He sat there and fell asleep. He's a
That's what old men do, though, right? They fall asleep sometime in the middle of a conversation. They just doze.
Do they though? I mean, is that what
Well,
old
he's
men
the
do?
oldest. president ever, isn't he?
I think
Let's
so. He's
let's play
over.
up that age card, right? It was we
Well,
could have the
yeah.
youngest, not the youngest, but we could have a vibrant, smart,
Yes.
joyful president,
Yes.
but we don't have that
Nope.
for
We
one
have
reason.
an old, spiteful, hateful, fat, ugly. Oh my God. Speaking of fat and ugly. Um, sorry.
Girl, I gotta stop going on mute. I can't get off mute. You making me laugh. I can't drink. You're gonna make me choke. Speaking
No,
of
but
fat and ugly, who could it be?
that's Donald Trump. Oh my God. But sometimes I think about, what's her name? Laura Loomer. I
Oh, I
think
don't think
he
I
was
know
having
her.
an affair with her. I mean, she's ugly too. Um, I'm sorry. I hate to be so petty, but I have no mercy.
You
But
find her unattractive. Let's put it like that. You find her
okay,
unattractive.
I find her unattractive. She's definitely not my type. Because she's too ugly. That's okay. All right. I gotta stop because I'm gonna make Adrian.
Subjective. It's subjective, but I know what you're saying. She's got a
Uh,
face maybe only a mother would love, in your opinion. One of those.
maybe not. Maybe not even her own mother, but that's okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be so petty. You can just cut this out because, but when I think about like her or Melania or even, oh, what was that porn woman that slept with him? I
Dusty something, starry something.
Yeah, something like that.
She
Sorry.
sued him. She
Yeah,
sued
she did
him.
sue him and
Yeah.
she won actually also. That
Did she
he
get
never
paid though?
Yes, she
Probably.
did. Donald Trump rarely wins a lawsuit. He just says he does or whatever. So never believe anything that he says. But when I think about any woman who ever slept with this man, I think, why? Like, oh, gross. Blah, blah.
Money and power make you do
And
strange
they're
things.
I guess they're never going to make me do anything strange. I'm not even kidding. There's not any amount of money that okay, there's not any amount of money that would like make me at this moment in my life sleep with a man that's over 70 years old.
Would you sleep with Donald Trump if you would know for sure, know that,
Oh, that I would get a chance to poison him or something?
well, I wasn't going to say that,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
that would be his last
Ah,
interlude, but
yeah,
that
but
you can
that would just spoil
guarantee
my
that
whole life.
well, no, here's the thing. If it meant that, would you give your life to save your country? I'm making a ridiculous scenario, but
Ooh,
that, like, you would know for sure that after one night with him, that
that we would both die, me of
would
shame and him.
know that he would torch Project 2025 and do everything proper and
Well,
step down. He'd fire Vance, step down. You know what I mean? Like, if he could just make everything
yes,
right, if he could make everything right,
if I thought it would make everything right, I would do it. I would
what a
do it. But
hero! What a sacrifice!
yeah, well, that would be a sacrifice because I would be like untouchable for the rest of my life. So
We couldn't fumigate you enough.
I and no, I don't think so. I don't think so. My poor husband would just look at me and just be like, "Ugh."
Well,
And
no,
I
it'd be
would,
like a Marvel. It'd be like a Marvel, one of the movies, and it would be like, I saved the country, and yeah, you would be untouchable, almost like a leper, but everybody would be
yes.
like, did she save the
That's right.
the
People would
world? The
look at me
world.
from afar and wave at me, but not shake my hand or anything like that because I would clearly be
They bring you
poisoned.
offerings and bow down and leave it outside the door. That's as close as they could get.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. But
But there
luckily,
are no magic wands, but there are votes. Well,
there's
listen,
votes.
I think oh yeah, we had a victory this month. The mayor of Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Democrat won and
Local.
no, but it's not that. I mean, I think it's a good thing, but also there is a strong contingent of Democrats in Nebraska. There is a strong there's a guy, His name is Ernie Chambers. I don't know if he's still in the Congress. He's Democrat, and he's also an atheist. And he was in their house, their legislature for years. I don't know if he's still there, but yeah. So it's we just have to everybody. You just have to step up. And if you can't protest, donate. If you can't donate, you know, write a letter, call your
Call
congressman,
your congressman.
whatever.
You can go to fivecalls.org because there's so much to call about. Pick a subject, any subject. Like the magicians say, pick a card, any card.
Yeah,
Pick a
because
subject.
it's all wrong. So no matter what subject irritates you the most, call, write, whatever. Post about it on your social media feeds to tell people what is going on because we're at a point where we need it's all hands on deck. It is
Is
all
there
hands on
any
deck.
is there any good news about the Save Act? What happened? That just got postponed or something this
Uh
month.
they haven't done anything with it in the Senate. I don't know. So we need to make sure they don't do anything with it. Write your senators, call your senators and tell them, yeah, you're not interested in this SAVE Act because it's wrong and you want to live in a voting rights are sacred.
And in
Um,
case you missed our previous rants about the Save Act, great name, right? It's to fight voter fraud, which is like 0.0 something percent anyway. But what it does is, and I think someone said a real ID doesn't even count. And the real ID is this new ID that they've updated with like a hologram or something. It doesn't prove you're a citizen. Maybe it doesn't prove you're a citizen. But a passport, birth certificate would be needed. Definitely for first time voter registration, but also maybe you move or you need to update it. Move across town, you have to update your address. You have to go in person and show them, prove that you are who you are. Sounds maybe not egregious unless your
no, it
voting
is.
office is, more than 5 miles away. That could be a day if you live rurally. But also, if you're a woman who changed her name and took your husband's name, you don't have a birth certificate in your husband's name, do you? Um,
Yep, that's
Hopefully you
right.
don't, because you didn't marry your cousin, right? But or your brother.
like
But
like Rudy Giuliani married his cousin. Um,
not first cousin, was it?
does it matter? Which one of your
Well,
cousins would you marry?
girl, they ain't all fools. But listen, Eleanor and Franklin were cousins somehow.
Yeah, but they were super distant cousins.
And
Not
I don't even know if
not
they procreated. We don't know.
they did.
Okay. But that
But
whole cousins thing gets weird, and that might be sensitive to some people. But women having ID, up to date ID, and proof of documents for married names can be a problem. And
yes,
you may not be able to get your divorce certificate. People are like, yeah, but you know what? That could take weeks or months. And if you're trying to vote or update because something's coming up, it may not be timely. Also, military. You could be a first time voter and you're overseas. They want you to come into your voting office or you're just stationed across town, across the country. That's not going to happen, is it? Military
yeah,
family living overseas, your child becomes a first time voter. You're going to fly them home just to register to vote
yeah,
when we can bank online, when we can have
yeah,
medical appointments online, when we can do everything online. Ask Amazon. We can do everything online.
yes,
I
that is true.
think that it's a clear assault, and that's not the only thing that's into it. Is but that's two things I speak about as a military person in the military community and a woman. But here's a tip for you ladies. First time going to get married, keep all your documents in your maiden name. Just let everybody call you Mrs. Whoever, if that makes your husband happy.
Or don't make your husband happy with some nonsense like that. Don't do it. Don't do it. I
Well,
hate to
here's the
be the
thing. My cousins, I do have cousins. They took each other's name. Her husband took his name, her name, and she took. So they were hyphen. They were Tingling Clemens, both of their last names. So he would have to go and get his stuff. If he moves, it has to update his registration. He doesn't have anything with his wife's name on it as far as birth certificate.
Yeah.
So it's more common for women, but there are men that take the names too because they're like, that's crazy.
You
Why she has
know,
to take my name? We're family. We
oh,
have both names.
it's so funny. I ran into somebody at the store yesterday, and I normally don't run into people I know at the grocery store that I shop in, but I did. And we were talking, and the woman, this was a couple of people, a woman and a man that I knew, and she said, I told her to, yeah, let me know about something. And she was like, is your name in my phone book and in my WhatsApp? And I said, well, look for Fobbs, Fobbs. And she wasn't there. And then she said, oh, I have you as my husband's name and last name. And I said, why? And she said, well, you're married now. And I said, I don't know what your point is. Like this, I still have the same last name as I had before. I didn't change my name. What's the point? I mean, I've had the same name for my whole
I
life.
don't even know your husband's last name now that
Yeah,
I think about it.
but you don't need to. You know mine. He's and also it's funny that my family, my husband and our kids, whenever they make reservations, they always use like at a hotel or a restaurant, they always use my name because my name is simpler for people to understand than theirs is.
So
So I
funny.
don't change your name. Stay strong. Like they necessary. Like really, yeah, I feel
I
very
can see
strongly about that.
reasons for and against it. And to be honest, when I was 22 and got married, I couldn't wait to take my husband's last name. When we got divorced, I changed all my stuff back. And then I got married again. Why I took that fool's name, I don't know. But I did. And then when I got divorced, I changed it back. I said, I don't care what happens to me next. I'm never changing this again.
Yeah, it's too much
And I
trouble.
have it, and now it's going to come in handy. But here's another tip. If you're going to be expat, keep your U.S. driver's license, keep a U.S. credit card. That's just two tips because I know a lot of Americans over here now. They're like, I don't have an American credit card. I'm like, why the hell? I don't have a U.S. driver's license anymore. I'm like, why would you give that up? Because they're complaining that they can't get it one now for whatever reason. And I'm like, because of these
Well,
scary ID requirements. I'm like, well, why did you ever give it up anyway? Did you think you were never going back? And then I'm like, I don't know. I'm never gonna, what's the word? Relinquish my citizenship. So I was like, I can't
no.
imagine not keeping my documents up to date. It just makes sense. And I'm like, I'm moving to a foreign country. Do I have credit there yet? Of course, I'm keeping my credit card. Just it was just practical. And after all these years, I love it. Yes, keep all your
Yeah,
identity in your name. But yeah,
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 for sure.
funny. Went from taking one man's name to another, and now I keep my professional name and my maiden. But I have found in the foreign country, if I present myself with my husband's last name before they see me, it's a different experience than my last name doesn't necessarily identify, my maiden name doesn't necessarily identify me as Black or American. It could be British, but still, Swedes like to think they're dealing with Swedes. So if I have a Swedish last name, that gives me a little bit of, I don't want to say gravitas, but it's like familiar.
Well,
And my
yeah,
first
I can
name
see that.
can, yeah. So just in those situations. But yeah, my Swedish documents are in my Swedish name.
Hmm.
So I'm like, let's just go to the passport line together, keep it simple. Yeah. And why not? Fuck,
Well,
I'm a Swede. I want a passport with a Swedish last name. None of this is logical. All of it's just because I get treated, I don't know. So have we
I
covered
don't know.
everything? That's a lot. I'm
We've
exhausted.
covered a lot of things, but yeah, I'm sure there's some things we may have left out, but you know, just
We can't
know
keep up with it all, people, but
that everything is moving really fast and but no matter how fast it's moving, we need to fight back.
oh, can
That's
we say something? Sorry.
about
What's happening in New? Oh, we talked about it last time, though. The recap. I mean, before the recap, we talked about the problems at Newark Airport with the flight controllers. It
oh
seems like it's been more of that.
yeah, it's getting worse. So be careful where you fly into, although I'm not really sure at this point it makes a difference where you fly into.
Yeah, scary times. But you know what? This is, would you say over something 100 days? These end of the month recaps are not my favorite episodes because they're depressing. Um, because we reminded of the about how much damage can be done in a seemingly short period of time, and it's
Yes.
disheartening for sure.
Well, it's
Um,
always easier to destroy things than it is to create them.
Speaking of destroying things, what happened to Dodge? Have you heard anything else about them?
No, I have not really. I know that allegedly, and I say that with a big allegedly, that Elon Musk said that he was going to quit Doge. He also said that he wasn't going to be involved in politics anymore, and I don't believe that for a moment.
Well, on that note, because I'm just thinking,
No,
did he have a salary?
no, he didn't. He
Okay,
didn't
so
have a
that's
salary, but the people that worked for him or work in this group do. Um, yeah, but I think we've we've said enough about the
except for go
terrible
to vote
things.
from abroad. Yeah, go to votefromabroad.org/resist. Find out what's going on where you are. This is the time for you to join, no matter where you live. If you're an American abroad, there's tons of things that you can be doing. There's tons of ways to get involved. Don't
Yeah.
despair. The news is bad. We understand that. But we do know people are fighting back. Lawsuits are being filed. Citizens are taken to the streets. Representatives are standing up. Oh gosh, did we talk about this? That representative that got arrested in Newark
No,
inspecting an ICE center.
the mayor of Newark got arrested, and then also a representative that was there got arrested. And this is absolute BS because it is actually in the law about oversight to these sort of imprisonment places for
I could say
um,
facilities, but yeah.
facilities that they should be able to go into them. So this is going to be dropped, but you see, that's the thing. That's how they do. They just do stuff to hurt people, and then the cases get dropped, but the damage is already done. And
It makes
that's what
people
they're
not want
doing.
to, yes, intimidation game makes people not want to serve public office. Oh, one thing we can close that on, God, depressing. I think federal judges are becoming more and more under threat.
Yes.
Judges that don't side with Trump necessarily. And we do know that it's a problem with them getting physically assaulted. There's a federal judge, I think she was in New Jersey. Her son answered the door and somebody shot him dead.
Yes,
They were
that's right.
coming for her. Yeah, which is outrageous. You're just doing your job. And so the federal judges, what I heard, were concerned because it's the U.S. Marshals assigned to protect them. So they're hoping that protection won't disappear if they don't side with Trump on decisions that they have to make, or Trump policy, or policy that could be looked at disfavorably by the administration. So the intimidation is real. The
Yes.
threat that people's lives are real. People not getting food in their mouths because of aid cuts. All of that's real. So the human suffering is
Is
real.
ongoing and real. And we people who can or can only do so much, you still need to stand up. Because if we don't stand up, at what point, at what point, you know, if you don't stand up now, we're all going to regret it later. So,
Yeah, everybody that knows history says this is how it all fascism starts.
yeah,
So let's not take a chance and say, oh, not this time. Let's be vigilant. All this horror is happening in front of our eyes. I know you can kind of feel helpless, but the pressure is working. So keep the calls going. Get to the streets if you can. Be safe. Take a buddy. Make sure it's a reputable organization. Know your rights. Know the exit routes. Be peaceful. Not all of these protests have been peaceful. No reason to think they won't be. It's our right to peaceful assembly.
that's
So
right.
there's no reason to think that it won't continue to be that way. Don't be intimidated. It's scary to speak out, especially when you have people that think everything's fine. You could just remind them of who's being hurt and
That's right.
what side they want to be on when it's all said and done. Voteformabroad.org. Angela, remind us of
Yeah,
elections coming up.
we've got a lot of elections coming up. They keep increasing. So we've got Virginia and New Jersey. They're having their state elections. So please go ahead, request your absentee ballots now. Don't wait till the last minute. Do it now. Don't wait. And then also we've got Arizona and we've got Pennsylvania that have elections. If you go to votefromabroad.org, you can see what specific districts those are in. The one in Arizona is in the same, the district is the same one that Phoenix is in and surrounding areas. So that's a big
A
one.
big one,
So
yeah.
yeah, so everybody vote. Everybody go to 5 calls and call your representatives. Everybody do whatever you can, post on social media, letters to the editor, tell your friends and family. Don't just sit back. Because Donald Trump is going to destroy our country. And then he thinks, or maybe Elon Musk and people think they're going to float off to Mars. Did you ever see that movie, Don't Look Up?
No.
Okay, well, it's on Netflix. Go check it out because at the ending, sorry, a spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. At the ending, they left for Mars and then they all died when they got there. All the rich people went to Mars and they
Oh
didn't make
wow.
it. So, yeah. So we don't want, I mean, okay, they can
Let
still
that
go
be
to
a
Mars.
cautionary tale, rich
Yeah,
people.
you're not getting off this rock to go anywhere. So let's try to make it the best place we can.
Let's make it the best place we can. And, voting is one way to do that, but be compassionate to others. If things that are happening now don't affect you personally, imagine if it was. And we can make things better. We have to.
We have to. All right. Until then, all power to the people. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, if something resonated with you, you learned something, or you want to take action.
Stay in touch with the Global Black Caucus. Our link tree is in the show notes. And always remember, power to the people.